Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gio, and I like to write gay fiction and romance. Let's start with Chapter 2 of Speeding. A quick recap. Pete will be evicted from his apartment if he doesn't clean it up. He's a hoarder and is ashamed to let anyone know how bad it's got. Ethan, Pete's best friend since high school, met Pete at a restaurant and revealed he's gay and loves Pete. Pete walked out of the restaurant. And now, Chapter 2. Wednesday, August 3rd. Pete. I leaned against the cinder block wall in back of the pub and stared at the dumpster. No, Mom, I need to go. I wanted to scream, "Get off the phone, I'm in the middle of something important," but then Mom would start one of her guilt acts. "This is more important than whatever you're doing, so don't worry. I've arranged everything. You'll pick Cindy up at 6:30, and I've already made reservations at Mama Italiana's. You don't have to thank me, but I think you'll be pleased," Mom said. "Mom, no, I have other plans," I said. "Plans which include figuring out what to do with all my stuff and maybe finding a new place to live. Why can't Mom back off like everybody else's moms?" "You mean that redhead you told your dad about? I bet she's only a floozy out for your body. Tell her your body is a temple and she can't have it. Cindy is more important. I work with her at the bank. She's the loan manager, and she is good with people. Cindy has a brain on her head and is cute. She's perfect for you. And don't you worry, I have everything arranged. You'll pick her up, spend 2 hours eating and talking, and then there's a new comedy you can take her to," Mom said. "No, Mom, I'm not changing my plans," I said. Mom clucked her tongue. "But, honey," here it comes. I dared to defy her. The act, the guilt, the wounded mom. No wonder I moved away. "Do you expect me to tell Cindy that you don't want to date her? How can you be so disrespectful of a person?" Mom said. "I didn't raise you to be rude and mean. I trained you better than this. I went into a lot of work making this a perfect date. Besides, I have to face her on Monday, and if you stand her up, I will look like a fool. You will not say no." "Mom, I have other plans," I said. Mom gave me her sweetest smile, the one that always soured my stomach. Sometimes I hate vid chat. Had Mom even heard me? Cindy is good wife material, and what is more important than finding a wife? "So tell me, right now, what's so important about this redhead?" Mom said. I'm not telling Mom about the eviction notice, or about Ethan. It doesn't matter what I say. Mom will ignore me. That's my life, and the reason I'd rather live on the streets than move back home. You know that I always know what's best for you, and I've already told Cindy that you would call her tonight," Mom said. "I have other plans tonight, too, and you're interrupting them," I said. "Cindy is a nice girl. Don't disappoint her. That would break my heart because I spent a long time setting this up just for you. Good boys obey their mothers," Mom said, bulldozing over me. "Now tell me you love me and you'll be a good boy. I'll text you Cindy's contact information so you can call her. I hope you don't mind, but I already gave her your phone number because I know you two would hit it off." "Mom, I do mind," I said. "Well, it's already done, so it doesn't matter. Tell me you're sorry you were rude and that you'll meet Cindy on Saturday. Between now and then, try and clean out your car. You want to impress her." "Whatever," I said, hanging up. My shoulders had tensed and I kicked a rock down the alley. My life kept getting worse. Maybe I needed to change my phone number. Maybe I needed to commit the cardinal sin and block Mom. When Mom figured it out, she'd march over to my place and yell at me. "Screw you, Mom," I muttered. If Mom came over, or Cindy, they would see how I lived. Giving an emergency key to my parents had seemed a good idea 2 years ago, but now I wanted to change the locks. Maybe Mom forgot about it. I needed to go back inside and talk to Ethan, but not when I'm spitting mad at my mom. He needed a friend to listen to him because he wanted to talk deep stuff. I couldn't talk deep stuff, not until I settled down. My life was falling apart. Correction, had fallen apart. I pulled out the letter from my landlord and read through it again. I had only half listened to what Ethan had said. The words of the notice from my landlord bubbled and brewed in my head, drowning out everything else. Even Mom and the blind date. Even Ethan coming out to me. What would I do with all my boxes and collectibles, my clothes? How would I move it? Where would I live? How could I tell anybody? How could I tell my parents to stop interfering in my dates, in my life? Would they even listen? No. My gut churned. I felt sick. An ugly panic lodged itself in my stomach, and I had difficulty thinking about the steak and the beer waiting inside. My best friend needed to talk, and I couldn't concentrate. "Damn you, Mom," I muttered and kicked the wall. "I'll deal with the blind date with Cindy later." What if I told Ethan about my problems? He'd listen. But tonight, Ethan was the one that needed to talk. Tonight, my apartment problems drove everything else out of my brain. Where would I go? What would I do with my couch, my TV, my bed, the dozens of garbage bags, the boxes, my beer stein collection, all my clothes, all the dishes I picked up, the antique platters I had inherited from my grandmother when she died, and all her dishes? I had stacks of magazines and newspapers and unopened mail, and boxes of books and comics and old video games. What about the boxes of old game consoles, my high school homework, video game manuals? I had at least 2 boxes filled with old cords, more comics, and what about the superhero figurines I had collected when I was 14? Out of the 200 collectibles, I managed to get all but one. That was the mess I lived in. The mess that was my life. I hadn't let people in my place for a year or 2. Nobody knew about the mess I lived in, and if they did, they'd laugh at me, shame me. Mom would make me feel worthless and force me to move back home. That's not going to happen. F you, Mom, I shouted. A bird flew down and pecked at some old food on the edge of the dumpster. I better take lessons. In 28 days, me and my stuff would be on the street. I'd be homeless and living out of a shopping cart. The panic hit. My stomach clenched, and I squeezed my eyes closed. I'd need more than 1 cart. I'd need 100. Imagine me pulling all the shopping carts down the street with all my belongings. I'd have one for my shoes, a couple for my shirts, another for my pants. I'd need at least 10 for my beer steins and other collections. How would I carry my tables and all the chairs, my bed, the old computers I was going to scavenge for parts? Where would I store my food, my dishes, Grandma's heirloom dishes? I forced my eyes open and imagined my train of shopping carts. I'd need a couple 100 carts. The back door to Arnold's burst open. "Can you believe it? Free steak for us," a voice said. And a couple of the cooks came outside. "Those guys paid for it, left a nice tip, and left. Their loss is our dinner. I don't like well done, but I won't pass up a free steak," the first cook said. "They hardly even touched their beers. Why do you think they left?" the second cook said. "The one guy was here last Monday night, driving the ambulance," the first cook said. "When we had that car accident out front," the second cook said. "He was working with the paramedics and took some man to the hospital," the first cook said. "I bet his friend is probably a driver too. They stopped by for a quick dinner, maybe it was their break or something, and then got an emergency call. They had to run out of here and couldn't even take their food. I'd go broke. It must suck to be on call all the time," the second cook said. "Not for us," the first cook said, opening up a steaming to-go container. That looked like my order. Did they mean Ethan had left? I hadn't been outside that long, had I? I walked back inside. A family of 4 sat at our booth. No beers, no steaks, and no Ethan. I slowly inhaled, and my stomach tightened even further. Ethan had left? I ran out front and looked for his car. It was gone. Oh, crap. Ethan had left. I checked my phone. Between Mom's call and feeling sorry for myself, I'd been outside for 30 minutes. Ethan had just told me he was gay and in love with me. He must think I deserted him, that I didn't want to have anything to do with him. Damn you, Mom, you're ruining my life again. Why can't I stand up to her? I am pathetic. I was so worried about the mess I'm in, I didn't pay attention. Ethan would understand, right? Why would he? My best friend needed to talk. He had barely revealed something very personal and very private. We should have spent an hour talking about it. But what do? I leave him alone. I'm so lost in my problems I can't focus on other people. And then Mom called. Why can't I tell her to leave me alone? I am a coward. Ethan had paid for both of us, and neither one of us ate. The cooks ate our food on their break. Did I feel like a total schmuck? I let Ethan down, some friend I turned out to be. I pulled out my phone so I could call Ethan and stared at the screen. What would I even say? Ethan, sorry I walked out, but your problems didn't matter to me? No, something this serious needs to be said in person. Maybe I can still catch him. Where would he drive to? His place? I walked to my car and unlocked it. There was a note stuck under the driver's side wiper blade. Pete, I understand I've made life uncomfortable between us, and I'm sorry. I don't blame you for walking out. You've been a good friend, but I can take a hint. I won't bother you anymore. Ethan. I had seriously insulted my best friend and drove him away without meaning to. Thanks again for ruining my life, Mom. An incoming text from Cindy Wilson. As if my life couldn't get any worse. Looking forward to Saturday night. Here's a picture so you'll recognize me. Mom said Cindy was only a couple of years older. Try a decade older, maybe more. Why can't Mom leave me alone? My shoulders tightened and my jaw clenched. Mom made me furious. Enough was enough. I pulled up Mom's number and gladly committed the cardinal sin. I blocked her. Ethan, Wednesday, August 3rd. Pete walked out on me, on our friendship. My chest wouldn't stop hurting, and my eyes wouldn't stop tearing. Pete wanted nothing to do with me. I drove on random streets, trying not to feel the ache inside. Pete and I had been playing basketball for years. We graduated high school together. We talked about everything, went to movies, hung out. He walked out on me. My best friend didn't want to have anything to do with me, because I'm in love with him. I pulled into a parking lot and endured the pain in my chest. Pete left me. Tonight hurt. I wanted to curl up in my bed and eat chocolate anything. I wanted to talk to somebody about this. I needed to talk to somebody. Normally, I'd call Pete. We'd meet at the park and shoot hoops and talk. That wouldn't happen again. Pete had left me. Our friendship was over, and all because I told him the truth about me, about how I felt. I didn't want to go to my apartment, and I couldn't speak with my parents about this. I didn't want to be alone. I had other friends, but none that had been as close as Pete. I dialed Mary. She and her boyfriend knew I was gay. Can Sabretooth and me come over and hang out for a little while? You sound depressed. Something happened? Mary said. You could say that, I said, and told her about tonight. The egotistical creep. I'll give him a bloody nose. Connor, are you up to getting an assault charge tonight? Pete just dumped Ethan, Mary said. You give me the word and I'll do it. You know I will, Connor said in the background. Not necessary. I just want a place to hang out for a little while, I said. Sure, bro, Connor yelled in the background. Make us your famous brownies and you can stay as long as you want. 30 minutes later, Sabretooth and I arrived with everything I needed to make triple chocolate cheesecake brownies for Mary and Connor, plus extras for the guys in B shift. We ate mocha chocolate ice cream, sipped white wine, feasted on brownies. I went from depressed to angry to sad to numb, and then back to depressed. Mary, Connor, and I talked about relationships, about crazy movies, and Mary begged me to give her the triple chocolate cheesecake brownie recipe. "That's the only reason you let me come over, so that has to stay my secret," I said. "Is that bribery or blackmail? At least I know how you make fresh salsa, and I can make that," she said. "I thought I knew Pete," I said. "He doesn't get any brownies," Connor said, ripping his 10th one in half and eating it. "Count that as being stupid. Pass me another brownie, please." "Me too," Mary said, licking the chocolate off her fingers. Mary and Connor always made me feel better. Even though I was on shift tomorrow and had to be up by 5, I stayed until 10. I didn't want to go back to my apartment and be alone, but I had to get ready for work in the morning. If I didn't get some sleep tonight, Tia would get mad if I fell asleep on the rig. Once shift started, I'd be up for more than 24 hours with hardly any sleep. I pulled up to my apartment, made sure the brownies were safe in the back seat, locked up my car, and took Sabretooth out to do her business. Then we walked to the second floor and my place. What a disaster tonight had become. I couldn't wait to get to sleep. Pete, Wednesday, August 3rd. It was almost 10:30 before Ethan's car showed up. I should go back to my apartment and let Ethan sleep. He had to be up in 6 hours. I'll apologize if he doesn't slam the door in my face. This was an emergency. I couldn't let my best friend think I hated him. Worse, did he hate me? I should jump out of my car, run to him, and apologize immediately, and I'll do it as soon as I stopped being so scared. Ethan wouldn't hate me, would he? He'll understand. Ethan and his dog went to the pet lawn where Sabretooth did her business. Now is the perfect time to talk to him. I didn't move. Coward. Ethan needed me to say we were going to be okay. I needed us to be okay. I'd never told him, but Ethan was more than my best friend. Talking to him kept me stable, and he probably never even knew it. I had insulted my best friend. I have to talk to him. Tonight. Now. My phone buzzed. An incoming text. Cindy Wilson? Not again. Your mom called and wondered if you had texted me yet. She said you were supposed to hours ago, and she made sure I had the right contact information. Text me back with a picture. It included the same picture she had sent before. If I hadn't blocked Mom, she would have called me and complained about how inconsiderate I was. I have to talk to Ethan. I put my hand on the door handle. My dad called? Hello? I said. Mom opened the conversation with a whine. Why aren't you answering my calls? Don't you love me? Why haven't you texted Cindy? I work with her, so I expect you to treat her with respect. I can't believe I raised... I pulled the phone from my ear and let Mom rant. That's why I left home. I didn't need her screwing up my life. After a minute of this, I said, Go to bed, Mom. You're interrupting my date. You're on a date? What should I tell Cindy? I whispered as if I was talking to somebody nearby. It's my mom calling again. No, it's not an emergency. It's just my mom playing matchmaker. Again. You're right. Pour me some more wine and give me a kiss. I'll turn the phone off as soon as Mom hangs up. Pete, are you with someone? Mom said. Sorry, Mom. Gotta go. Don't call back. We'll be busy. Bye. But what about... Mom started to say. Maybe being homeless would have one advantage. Mom would never find me. I hung up. Dad called again. Mom won't give up. I let it go to voicemail and quickly blocked the number. Was this what it took to get some peace and quiet from my family? My best friend thought I hated him. I was about to be evicted. Mom had set me up on a blind date without asking. Next time I saw Mom, she'd throw a tantrum and play the victim. Somehow she'd make it out that it was all my fault. I hate my life. My stomach knotted and my hands chilled. What do I do about Ethan? What do I do about my apartment? What do I do about my life? There was nobody I could talk to, nobody I could ask for help. This was the perfect time to talk to Ethan. We'd spend a nice quiet night outside, and I would say I'm sorry, and everything would be fine. I looked back at the pet lawn. Damn, where was Ethan? His lights came on in his apartment. He'd gone inside while I was dealing with my mother. Got screwed over by Mom. Again. Ethan's complex, the Garden Terrace Apartments, was a large complex. 20 buildings clustered around 2 swimming pools, a laundry complex, a clubhouse with weight room, and covered parking. It was nicely xeriscaped with rock gardens, small lawns, and palm trees. It was also pet-friendly. Each building had 3 floors, 4 units per floor, and each unit had a small balcony. Driving an ambulance must pay better than working in an IT call center, because this was a nice place. I walked past Ethan's spotless car. He didn't store anything inside it, and didn't have anything hanging from his rearview mirror. Why did he keep it so clean? His balcony had a couple of deep green Adirondack chairs with matching pillows, a couple of his work shirts and T-shirts hung from a rod. A pair of pants also hung from the rod, and several potted plants sat at the edge of the balcony. I recognized bright red tomatoes, and the long spiky things were onions. I didn't know what the others were. I took a deep breath. Ethan would understand I had made a mistake, wouldn't he? We're friends. Would I forgive Ethan if he walked out on me? I hope Ethan's a better person than me. I grabbed the takeout containers and the 6-pack from my front seat and walked up to the 2nd floor and blew a breath out. Ethan could scream at me, and I deserved it. Ethan could slam the door in my face, and I would deserve it. Somebody played guitar and sang. That was Ethan's voice. The air smelled like brownies. I'd forgive Ethan anything if he brought those brownies. I knocked a couple of times. The guitar went quiet, and the singing stopped. I wiped my hands on my jeans and hoped I looked all right. "Just a second, I'll be right there," Ethan yelled. I didn't think I was nervous before, but I am now. I pasted on a stupid grin and tried to look calm. Ethan would understand. I need him to understand. I imagined Ethan was checking the peephole. I smiled at it and held up the takeout bags. I brought food. A moment later, Ethan opened the door, but only wide enough to look out. He wore basketball shorts and a T-shirt with the sleeves ripped off, displaying the intricate floral line on his upper arm and shoulder. I'd seen the back of his shoulder before. A blue and green hummingbird flew among the flowers. Don't most guys get wolves or dragons or skulls? I didn't know anybody that had a hummingbird tattooed on them. Ethan's eyes seemed sad, bitter, a little red, and he didn't smile. "Not a good time. I'm on shift tomorrow, Pete," he said. My heart sped up and my stomach sank. I stopped smiling. I had never seen this side of Ethan before. Depressed and bitter. I had really screwed up. Instead of takeout, maybe I should have brought flowers or concert tickets. Maybe I should be on my knees. "I brought dinner," I said, forcing a smile back on. "I had Arnold remake our order as takeout. Since you already paid, they didn't charge. Can we talk?" I have to be up in less than 7 hours, and it might be 24 hours after that before I can sleep again. Ethan held the door a moment, as if deciding whether to open it all the way or not. "I brought beer, too," I said. Ethan was too serious, and he had every right to be. It's time to lighten the mood. "About earlier, I needed time to think. It's not every day that somebody tells you they love you. I have to admit, you have pretty good taste. After all, I am so good-looking that nobody can resist me, even my best friend." Ethan rolled his eyes, but there was something distant about him. What did I expect? I was so stuck in my problems that I had shut him down. "Dinner's gotten cold while I waited for you, so we'll have to nuke it. Come on, let the straight guy in and let's eat. I'm starving," I said. Did Ethan wince when I said that? Was I being too informal? Face it, I was an insensitive clod earlier. Ethan came to me because he trusted me. I screwed up. It's my way of apologizing for acting weird. How about letting me in and we can talk about you being gay? Ethan still held the door and hadn't moved. Had I said the wrong thing again? Pete, I said to myself, you've really goofed up tonight. You know it, and Ethan knows it. This mistake could make the world record for dumbest mistakes. We don't have a lot of time. You have to get up at 5, and I still have to say I'm sorry, I said. Ethan hadn't moved. Maybe I should try another way. I haven't been in your apartment. We always meet somewhere else. Isn't it time you gave me the tour? Come on, it's us. Let's eat and talk and show me your place. I'd love to see it. And if you don't, I'll stand at your door screaming, I'm sorry all night until you forgive me. You won't get any sleep, and neither will your neighbors. Are you going to make me beg? Ethan stared at me, but was that a small smile? You wouldn't dare. You know me. Yes, I would. I dropped to my knees and took a deep breath and yelled as loud as I could, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Then took another deep breath and yelled, I'm a jerk, I'm a jerk, I'm a jerk, I'm a... Shut up and get laid already, some woman yelled from downstairs. Ethan broke into a smile and quickly looked at his other neighbors' doors. You're forgiven. Now get in here before my neighbors complain. What did you bring? I relaxed, and my smile was genuine. So was Ethan's. I think we're going to be okay. A couple of steaks, baked potatoes with everything, jalapeno creamed corn, some of the rolls, I said. Give me a second to get the table ready. I'm waiting for my iron to warm up so I can iron my work shirt for tomorrow, Ethan said, opening the door. I'm making more brownies. Would you like one? We can have them for dessert, I said. Wait. You iron? Nobody irons anymore. I don't have a dryer, so I hang my clothes outside to dry and then iron them, he said. I walked in, took one look at his place, and tried to look happy as the shame flooded up my spine. Ethan would definitely never see my apartment. Why does my life keep getting worse? Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll do chapter 3 when I write it, hopefully by next week. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Peace.